If it's Monday night, say yeah for It's Ridiculously Raw. Hello, friends. Anthony Flair, your ridiculously over good brother here with you once again. Joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. And hey, for the first time in a while, we got the Twisted Angel with us, Stevie Woodson. Great to have you with us as well. Our other panelist, Michael Bullock, will be coming in late as usual. As soon as he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. Simple as that. A week ago, we had honestly the best Raw of 2017. Good news and bad news. The bad news is last week's Raw is still the Raw of the year. But the good news is it was another damn good show. I will say that for sure. Another one of the top shows of the year, no question about it. You thought last week was good? Well, this was just as good, but by a smidge, not better. That's all I'll say on that. It was still a good show, though. Still very proud. So, not that many cutouts. There were maybe one or two at the most. So, that's good. So, and stay tuned. Near the end of the show, we are going to have a major announcement regarding next week. Only MF Bullock and I know what that announcement is. Edie, you'll find out soon enough. So, oh, I cannot wait to share this announcement. MF, you know where I'm going with it. Bullock knows where I'm going with it. You know, oh boy, I cannot wait. So, but we'll do that near the end. So, for right now, let's get into this. Once again, another wonderful edition of Monday Night Raw. It was live tonight from Dee Dee Woodson's neck of the yards, ironically. The Quicken Loans Arena, Cleveland, Ohio, on the USA Network. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. It was Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe, oh my goodness. You want to talk about intensity? He brought that and then some. Basically called out Roman Reigns. He says, I don't need anybody to fight my battles for me. Come out by yourself and let's get it on, big boy. And then Roman Reigns shows up. They go at it, but then the Bar showed up, and then the Shield showed up, and it set the tone for 3 huge singles matches involving Joe and the Bar and the Shield, and we'll get into those matches in just a smidge. But as far as this opening segment goes, a very strong start to the show that featured these 6 participants meeting in 3 different singles matches. And if you didn't read the spoilers for the Tribute to the Troops show that's going to air this Thursday night on USA as part of WWE Week, these 6 men will engage in a 6-man tag team matchup. So I was also curious to see if they were going to build up that match, or if it's just being treated like a separate entity, because that doesn't really matter in the typical storyline universe, as has been the case in the past. I'm thinking the latter on that one, but we'll see. But as far as the opening segment goes, very strong start to the show. No doubt about that in my mind. As great as everybody was, to me, Samoa Joe was the star of the segment. Love that intensity. Loved it in TNA. Love to hear. Awesome. Nothing more to say. Girl MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. You've been Joe's biggest supporter, and
I think basically you know why I'm his biggest supporter after what you just saw tonight. No doubt about it. This was a great way to start the show. Very strong beginning. Joe awesome on the mic. Almost a bully style attitude, and I know a lot of people weren't really too thrilled about that. But you also gotta love the body of work. You love what he brought to the table. You loved him. Basically openly criticizing Roman Reigns, saying, you know what, you ain't nothing without your Shield brothers. And I've kicked your butt all up and down in the past in the whole 9 yards. If you're a real man, if you want to fight, let's fight. You do it on my terms, and I want you here tonight, right here, right now. Let's brawl. So Seth Rollins was watching this, telling Dean Ambrose, "Yo, get Roman. You might want to hear this." And next thing you know, Roman's like, "You know what, guys? I got this. Let me be. I'll be at ringside, and we'll go and we'll do what we need to do." Next thing you know, Roman comes out, but if you started noticing, some people started pointing from a direction from another part of the arena, the bar jumped out. They came out from God knows where. They probably came out from the tunnel from another part of the arena. They ran out, tried to do a 3-on-1 beatdown. That brought the Shield out. This was a very solid way to start Monday Night Raw. I got no doubts about it. And this was really good. I had nothing bad to say whatsoever. Of course, I agree. Samoa Joe was the star of the program, and you also got to give a little credit and a little love to Roman Reigns as well. You know, initiative, being that big dog as they call him, and he went out. He didn't have his Shield brothers. He went out, fought Samoa Joe. It was about an even fight before the bar showed up, but. This was amazing, and I got nothing else to say. So, Didi Woodson, I give it to you, my love.
Yeah, this was a strong start for the show, with Joe coming out there, cutting the promo. But my only beef with it is he said he could do it alone, and here he had set them up with having the bar out there as well. I mean, that's kind of, but that's kind of not proving that you can do it alone. Although, I am a big supporter of Joe, have been for, through the TNA days as well, but was a little let down that he did this tonight instead of doing it alone like he said he could do. But it was a strong opening, a good way to set the triple matches we had tonight with these 6 men. So not much more I have to say about it. So let's move on.
All right, and we're gonna start it off with the match portion of the show. And our first match of the night, women's tag team action. 2 members of Absolution, Paige and Mandy Rose, with Sonya Deville in their corner, squaring off against Bayley and Mickie James, Sasha Banks in their corner. Winners of the match in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Paige and Mandy Rose get the win. Paige basically knocked out Mickie James with some sort of vicious kick, and Mandy Rose fell into the cover and got the win. So Paige and Mandy Rose pick up the win. Absolution continues to dominate. MF, about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive victory, no doubt about it. You got to give Paige and Mandy Rose the opportunity here. So at the end of the day, yes, it was a solid performance, and good job by everybody. Mandy's still a little bit of a little green. She is the new girl, so she's got to work her way up. But at the end of the day, I really liked what I saw, and I thought this was an absolute incredible job, to say the very least. So nothing more to say. Solid performance. I'd probably say about a couple of stars. And Didi, I'll give it to you.
Okay, this is kind of the first match I've really got to really watch with Absolution, due to the fact that my work schedule is really bizarre. Because I working where I work, I do work in the evenings, either 2 to 9:30 or 3 to 11:30. So unless I sneak into another unit, I don't get to watch wrestling very often, because my ladies would rather watch the Hallmark Channel. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same Christmas movies, but we're not going there. So let's go back to the match. This was a very good match for me, in my opinion. I'm going to probably give it about 2 stars, because all 4 of them looked really strong, and I can see why they put these 2 girls with Paige to make Absolution. Because Paige is basically teaching these 2, how to work on the mic, how to handle certain situations, some stuff that maybe they weren't getting as much of on NXT. but at the same time, they're meeting up with the top ladies of Raw, and they're holding their own. They're doing a very good job. I've always been a Paige mark, no matter if she's good or bad. But of course, I like Mickey and Bailey as well. But I think I like Paige a lot better than the other two. So I think I'm going to really, even though this is a heel team, I think I'm really going to, have a good following thing here for Absolution, because Paige looks good for being out as long as she was. She hasn't missed a beat, hasn't shown any ring rust, and this was it's not the best women's match that we've had, but it was better than some of the other ones they've had in the past, where like we've had with Asuka, where they've won, where she's pinned in maybe 2 seconds or something like that. So, it at least this match went a while. It showed some strong points for both teams. Very, very, very good. So, not much more I'm going to have to say about it. So, Florio, it's yours.
2.5 stars for me. I mean, I thought this was a solid match and another credibility building win for Absolution. It feels like Mickey, Sasha, and Bailey are simply tasked with putting them over at this point, being somewhat of jobbers to the stars here, if you will. But I'm curious to see if that's their only role or what will turn the tide. And you mentioned Asuka, Didi. We'll get into Asuka later. Asuka was on this show, so a very interesting moment with that one. Oh, believe me. As we continue on this women's angle, then they had a back and forth vignette with Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy. Epic stuff. That's all I can say on that. Hopefully we get to see more of that in the future. Well, apparently we got a cutout here. Finn Balor, Curtis Axel. Finn Balor won it in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Coup de grace. Or as our friend Luigi PS3 has called it from time to time, the coup de grace. But Balor won it in 1 minute 40. No rating to a dud. We're not even going to bother with that. That was the first. That was the worst fight of the night, far and away. But now let's move on to another relevant match here. The first of our Shield bar, whatever you want to call it, singles bouts. Seth Rollins squaring off against Sheamus. And Seth Rollins picks up the win in 13 minutes and 50 seconds with that high knee move of his. So Didi Woodson, started off with you here. Seth Rollins over Sheamus in just north of 14 minutes.
Yeah, this was a really good match to start off for the guys, and to start off for our triple series of Shield versus the Bar and Joe. I was, pretty impressed with how this match went. I'm going to give it a solid 3 stars. Rollins looked good, Sheamus looked good, and of course they gave us, 14 minutes of action, and not 14 minutes of, just, fighting, talking, doing, stuff that you would not want to actually see. This was actually a match. This is actually these two guys taking it at each other, and that's the kind of stuff I like. So not much more I had to say about it, so I toss it back.
One of the fights of the night, no question about it. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. This was a very good match. I mean, I know for some the singles matches involving tag champions and challengers, it's becoming tiresome. I know there are some who feel that way. Not for me. This match held my interest, and it certainly had the live crowd in Cleveland. And it's also very encouraging to see Sheamus working a lengthy singles bout, given that he just recently openly discussed battling spinal stenosis in his neck last month. same spinal stenosis that forced Edge and Daniel Bryan to retire from professional wrestling in both in their primes, by the way. So just a little backstory there. But nonetheless, very good match between these two. One of the top fights of the night for sure. I probably would put it in my top three, no question about it. 3.25, 3.5 stars. Nice win for Rollins. So, and like I said, Sheamus kept battling in this bout, despite that stenosis there. Good for him. That's a warrior, man. That's a warrior spirit right there. Much respect to the Celtic Warrior, no doubt about it. Nothing more to say. 3.25, 3.5 stars. MF, how about it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. This was a great match, and you said it, 3 stars for me as well. And at the end of the day, you just have to continue what you're doing. The body of work was there. Tremendous performance by both men. And yeah, I have heard about Sheamus's injury and what he's battling, and yeah, I am a little concerned because there was a lot of talk that he might be retiring very soon. It would be very unfortunate because of how great Sheamus is, and I know a lot of people would be very concerned about that. And at the end of the day, you just got to handle whatever you got to handle and try to do what you got to do. So at the end of the day, you got to try to handle your business and just try to make a living out of it, no matter what the circumstances is. But you really got to get concerned about every little move he does now. I think we're going to be watching Sheamus even more now, like a hawk. Wondering, because that's the same thing that happened. We never knew about Edge. We didn't know about Edge. With Daniel Bryan, it was more concussions than spinal stenosis, but it ended up ending his career too. Now with Sheamus, I mean, who knows what we're going to get? So at the end of the day, we're hoping and praying for the best. It's just, will he be okay? Will he be all right? And will he just continue on? And at the end of the day, that's the key for all of us, is what's going to happen? How is this going to deal? And that's really more or less what we're going to do. But, after what we saw tonight, it was a solid performance. Sheamus looked all right in my eyes. And Seth Rollins, I mean, they really sold the fact that he was having a knee problem in the fight. Suffered, looked like it looks like a working injury, not a legit. So before you guys start freaking out, like, oh my God, what's happened with Rollins? No, he's fine. He was selling the injury during the match. But as you saw, he hit him with the Rainmaker setup, which is, instead of doing the Rainmaker clothesline, it's that flying knee that he does. What I call the Captain Falcon knee strike. He hit him with that, and that's how he won the match. So, I mean, it was a very impressive performance. Great job by both men. Nothing more to say. Anthony, let's just move on.
All right. We got a bit of a backstory before we get into our next match. Many of you know we were supposed to have a #1 contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship between Drew Gulak and Rich Swann. However, very disturbing news came out last night, as first reported by MF during a special emergency chat with myself and Bullock and him and 2 other friends. It was announced that Rich Swann was arrested following a domestic incident with his wife over the weekend. Because of that, he has been indefinitely suspended by WWE, and it led to the commentary team saying that his opportunity had been quote unquote revoked. So, and they didn't get into any further detail on that. So, and it was also reported that that TJ Perkins was gonna step into that spot against Drew Gulak, but that got changed. Instead, we had yet another fatal. They were calling this a second chance fatal 4-way match. Cedric Alexander, Tony Nese, Mustafa Ali, Ariya Daivari, winner of the match in 13 minutes and 5 seconds. And moving on to face Drew Gulak next week, Cedric Alexander. All right, about damn time. Oh boy, another contender for fight of the night here. This is also a top fight of the night. Absolutely, another 3.25 to 3.5 stars. The third week in a row, the cruiserweights deliver again. Wow, entertaining match, and Cedric Alexander, a much more compelling option than Rich Swann was. And I am hopeful that they get the title off of Enzo and start giving these guys better character development and storyline support. And I can't think of a better guy to have at the top of my personal list than Cedric Alexander. You've heard of how you've known for the last year and a half or so how high I have been on this young man. He is so fun to watch, especially in the Cruiserweight Classic. For those of you who have the WWE Network, go back and watch his match with Kota Ibushi. 5-star Shakespearean drama classic. You'd be a stupid idiot and a muttonhead if you didn't. That's all I can say on that. So, but as far as this goes, 3.25, 3.5. And Drew Gulak killed it on commentary. Nice mix of gimmick and actual commentary, while hilariously avoiding answering the questions about facing Enzo. Another great cruiserweight showcase for the 205 Live roster on Monday Night Raw. And while it is in front of more people than those who watch 205 Live, I mean, I still don't know why we still have to do this 205 Live still. I mean, by outing all of the important content on Raw for weeks, and you're making 205 Live quote unquote can't miss TV, even though at some points it has been. So, but nothing more to say on. That's my little nitpick. But other than this match was amazing. I'd like to see more of these on 205 Live if we can. I know it's a bit part, but I think we can do better on 205 Live. I know it's not much to ask, but come on now. But nonetheless, man, was that fun. 3.25, 3.5 stars. MF next week, Cedric Alexander against Drew Gulak in Providence. How about it?
And not only that, but I think everybody's going to be pulling for Cedric Alexander in this fight because of the fact that, Cedric has been right there for a number of years. He was one of the top guys coming out of Ring of Honor and making the big run. And now here he is getting possibly an opportunity at the title. If he beats Drew Gulak next week, that means he will fight Enzo sometime down the line, which is great. At the end of the day, we just got to see what they do and, bring it all there, bring it home, do what you got to do and make this the best thing possible. And for me, this was a great match. 3 stars for me. I mean, they finally are showcasing the cruiserweights correctly. This is what we've been waiting for a long, long, long time. And, that was the one thing we were preaching was, how SmackDown was so better than Monday Night Raw, how SmackDown was so better handling the cruiserweights than it is on Monday Night Raw. But now all of a sudden, here we go. So I got nothing more to say. This was amazing. Didi Whitson, it's yours.
Didi doesn't do the cruiserweight match.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
But nonetheless, Alexander and Gulak next week. Going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. Okay. Are you ready for this? Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship on the line. Roman Reigns defending the title against one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, The Bar, Cesaro. Winner of the match, 16 minutes and 55 seconds. And still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the big dog, Roman Reigns. He beats Cesaro just north of 17 minutes. MF, there's nothing left for me to say. I think we're all in agreement here. Fight of the night?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Tremendous match. Tremendous battle. Nothing more to say. Great matchup. A great main event. A main event caliber type match. And yeah, they did absolutely amazing. This was incredible. This was awesome. This was, as good as you could have done it. And I got nothing bad to say about this. This was another great battle. So yeah, for me, this was about maybe another 2.5 to 3 star match. So nothing more to say. Didi, I give it to you.
definitely agree. This is the match of the night, and if you're keeping track here, it's Shield 2 bar 0. But of course, we still have one more match to go with the Shield versus the Bar Joe team here. This definitely was a very, very good match. I really enjoyed watching it. In my opinion, I think this one probably should have been the main event over the actual main event, but that's just my opinion. I'm actually going to go higher than Fletch on this. I'm going 3.5 to 3.75 for this match. It was definitely a very, very good match. No doubt about it. I mean, so much action, so much going on, and I mean, all those times you thought Cesaro really knocked Reigns for a loop, yet he still comes back in the end, showing why he is right now the Intercontinental Champion. And that's the kind of champion we need, is one that can fight his way out of situations like this. And Reigns is doing it, and so many near pinfalls, and he still pulls out in the end. So not much more I have to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
Fight of the night, 3 3/4 to a solid 4 stars. Reigns showed good intensity to start the match in a fitting manner, given the attack by the heels earlier in the show. It wasn't overly confident Reigns. It was revenge-seeking Reigns, and Cesaro targeting Roman's arm was a treat to watch. That was good scientific wrestling right there. And it was hard to buy into the idea of him winning the IC title when he currently holds one half of the Raw Tag Team titles. But it was an entertaining match, and it was surprising to see Roman sell for the majority of the match. And man alive, I mean, very good, bordering on great match from these two. They've worked well together in the past. You remember that WWE title tournament match they had a couple years ago? That was the best match of that tournament. We all know that. But no surprise that this was high quality, hard hitting, kept the crowd interested, flat out delivered. Great work from both guys here. I would love for a rematch down the road where Cesaro actually wins the title when they are ready for Roman to drop it. They have such great chemistry. And I think Cesaro, without question, is more than capable of being a future Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Heck, I could say he's also capable of being a Universal Champion someday. I'd like to see that even more. So, but nonetheless, 3 3/4. But for me, solid 4 stars. Fight of the night, absolutely, no question about it. So let's move on to this. You remember we talked about Asuka. It was originally supposed to be Asuka squaring off against Alicia Fox, but Alicia Fox got taken out by Absolution, and Absolution was obviously trying to recruit Asuka again. But then, and just as Absolution was getting the advantage, the entire Raw women's roster came down, and they actually got the best of Absolution here. So, Didi Woodson, it's only fitting we started with you here, because this is your bread and butter right here. Nothing more to say on this except the battle lines have finally been drawn.
That they have. Yeah, when I brought up Asuka earlier, I was bringing up all the, matches she had that were like 2 minutes or less, and of course this one wasn't even a match since Absolution took out Fox. But here they come out. They're telling her to get out of the ring, or they're gonna, pretty much kind of move her out of the ring. And Asuka kept saying, "No, I'm not getting out of the ring," and she showed no fear to this team. And just as Absolution looks like they have the upper hand here, you have the whole locker room coming down, and Absolution, from what I understand, ever since they've arrived, they have put the ladies on notice. Well, I think the ladies just put them on notice that they are not going to back down to this team. They're not going to let this team be the ruler of the roost, as I guess you could say. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see how this, is going to play out in the end. Having everyone against 3 people, but it is what it is. It's going to be a strong, it's a strong segment. It's definitely definitely mixing up, and stirring the pot on Raw. So not much more I had to say about it. So, Floyo, it's yours.
Well, it was perfectly logical that the women's roster would all put aside their differences to take out Absolution. And it is kind of surprising that it happened, because that type of logic usually does not exist when factions are involved. But the rest of the roster decided to band together and get some revenge. Absolution took a minor beating, but escaped and avoided the 8-on-3 beatdown. Fine overall, another step in the angle. And I think it also served as a possible tease for that heavily rumored women's Royal Rumble match. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about that little technical glitch there. Not sure what happened, but yeah. I was trying to say, there this angle tonight definitely set as a possible planting of seeds, because a lot of the dirt sheets have been reporting that in addition to the men's Royal Rumble match, we're gonna have a women's Royal Rumble match. Do it, book it. You've already had them in a tables match. You've already put them inside Hell in a Cell. I don't know what else there is left for them to do. Put them in a Royal Rumble match of their own. Same stakes. Whoever wins gets to challenge their respective brand's women's champion at WrestleMania. That's what I would do. And I see Didi Woodson agrees with it. But there's one opinion we need left to get, and that's the opinion of one good old MF Michael Fletcher. So MF, this angle tonight, were you starting to think, I think we could be on the verge of a women's Royal Rumble here?
Well, not only that, but there was also one thing that you also forgot, and is that we also saw a women's Money in the Bank ladder match this year too. Not right. Once, but twice. So I mean that was also a thing that you kind of left hanging there, Florio, that I thought you were gonna bring or talk about, and you left that hanging. So I'll say it for you. And yeah, I agree. A women's Royal Rumble would be excellent. It would be a big deal, to say the very least. And for me, it is nothing more to say, but you got to do it. You have to do it now. In this day and age, in this culture of WWE, you got to start believing that this will become something down the line, and you just got to kind of work your way up, and you just got to get better than anything else. And at the end of the day, you just focus on what you need to focus. And I loved everything that was going on. Absolution looked great, and at the end of the day, it is definitely going to be something better than anything else. So at the end, you handle your business, you do what you got to do WWE wise, and WWE, you've been innovators, you've been creative up to this point. You've brought so many big moments in wrestling. Let's do it one more time. Nothing more to say. I'm with you guys on that for the Money in the Bank, for a women's Royal Rumble match. I think it should be done. There's really nothing more to say about it. So let's just move on, Anthony. It's all yours, my friend.
Yes, indeed. And the third and final Shield versus Bar Joe match. It was Dean Ambrose squaring off against Samoa Joe. winner of the match in between 10 minutes and 50 seconds to an even 11 minutes. Samoa Joe wins it with the Coquina clutch and some involvement from Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan gets involved. So, yeah, solid match. I can only give it 2.5 stars, though. The styles of Joe and Ambrose weren't a great match, but the involvement of Jason Jordan made it work. Very good use of Jordan as it gave Ambrose an out for losing, gave Jordan and Ambrose an issue, and continued the storyline involving Jordan and Joe. And perfectly fine match, but it did lack some intensity and a sense of purpose as they were killing time for the Jordan stuff. So, and I think the Jordan heel turn is all I can is the Jordan heel turn is on the verge of going down. There will be a heel turn eventually. Rumor I'm hearing is that it could lead to a match, a quote unquote father versus son match at WrestleMania with Jason Jordan against Kurt Angle. Now that I'd like to see. So that's all I can say on that. So yes, Didi Woodson, you are absolutely right. MF, your Miami Dolphins just did the unthinkable. They beat the mighty. Your David Miami Dolphins slayed the Goliath Patriots here tonight, 27-20. I wouldn't blame you if you had a spring in your step as we give it to you. I'm sure you are downright giddy right now. So, MF, it's all yours. Joe and Ambrose, 2.5 stars for me. Yep, I knew that was coming. Lucky for you, Bullock's not here, or else he'd be going crazy right now. Unmute your mic, MF.
I had to unmute my mic. I've been wearing this all night, getting into wars with a whole bunch of people who are Patriot fans, including our own Kaiser Marie Butler. Prior to the game, we did it. We won. We shocked the world, and we keep our slim playoff hopes alive. We'll get into that on Friday. We got a new #1 in the power rankings, too. The Patriots are gone. So nothing more to say about that. All right. Now, back to the show and back to this this situation. And this was, look, I don't understand. Well, no, I do understand. Jason Jordan's being a sourpuss heel. He's basically ducking all the good talent, basically interfering where his nose doesn't belong. And he's hoping that Daddy Dearest is going to save his butt every chance he gets. Saying, oh, no, it's an honest mistake. My son, you got to forgive my son. He didn't mean it. It was a mistake. Don't worry about it. We can fix this. There ain't no fixing. Jason Jordan is out with his own personal agenda. And what he's trying to do is stir up the hornet's nest and make Daddy Dearest's life a living hell. And right now, I mean, look at what he's been doing. He's trying to scapegoat from matches, fake injuries left and right. And what is there to say? I don't know. But at the end of the day, this was a good match. Another solid match in the trio of matches that we had tonight. Yeah, at first you don't understand why Jason Jordan got involved more than anything else. You're like, what the hell were you thinking? But maybe there's a bigger plan, a grander scheme down the line. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and find out, and we'll see. So this was a decent fight. I would say about 2 to 2.5 to 2 3/4. Nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, it's all yours, my love.
Yeah, I'm going to give it about 2 1/4. Jordan was warned before this match even started by Angle, that he wasn't prepared or anything for this match, or that he's sitting here trying to bite off more than he can chew, because all the matches he keeps saying that he's competed in and held his ground on, he hasn't won. And So now, at the end of that backstage segment, he pretty much kind of turned his back on his dad because he called him Kurt at the end of it, and then went out there and did exactly what Joe did when Jordan had his match and sat there and watched. The only thing is on that match, from what I understand, Joe did not interfere during the match, where Jordan decides to interfere during this match. And of course, this is the first loss for the Shield out of this trio of matches due to Jordan sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, because there was one point here where it looked like Ambrose had Joe pinned and the ref is too busy messing with Jordan to go over and count the pin. So when he did finally get over there, Joe kicked out, which caused, of course, Ambrose to get in Jordan's face. So now we have all this, in my opinion, BS going on here with Jordan, which has no business really being out here for this, because Ambrose hadn't had anything to do with Jordan. Jordan was the one who wanted to go after Reigns, not Ambrose. The only reason he's out here is because of Joe. And Jordan is nowhere near ready for this. Fletch brought it up. He's faked injuries. He's done everything opposite of what Kurt Angle would do to get out of matches. Kurt was the one who stressed integrity and all this stuff. Well, I don't see any of that now that Jordan's gone singles. Where's the integrity in going out there and faking an injury? Where's the integrity of going out there and interfering in matches when you don't have any business doing it, or overstepping the one man that you say you respect, which is your dad, who happens to be a GM? And I don't see it. I don't see why they're letting Jordan get away with this. I think there should be some sort of a ramification come off of this, but that's my opinion. So, like I said, but I'm going to give it 2 4 stars. It still was a good match, but Jordan does need to be punished for what he did in this match. So, not much more I have to say about it. I'll get off my high horse and pass it to Florio.
All right. It's not often that the main event of the show is a cutout, but unfortunately, this time around, it's going to have to be a cutout, I'm afraid. They hyped this as the monstrous main event. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll put some butts in the seats. Kane and Braun Strowman. There was a stipulation, though. The winner of the match would become the number one contender for Brock Lesnar in the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. When all was said and done, double count out at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. If it wasn't for that Finn Balor squash of Curtis Axel, I would have said this was the worst fight of the night. This was a no rating to a dud. Yeah, they left the fans hanging in terms of who will challenge Lesnar. But the live crowd, apparently the live crowd didn't seem to mind. But the fans did sit on their hands throughout the actual match. But they did come to life once, they had that brawl after the match was officially over. But there's only one way we can solve this situation. I smell a triple threat at the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman versus Kane in a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. That's what I think is going to happen. But we're going to have to wait a week to find out one way or the other. So, of all the matches on this show, this was one of them. They did mean guy power spots. We had a crappy non-finish. And Kane is going to be headlining a pay-per-view in 2018 as we're going to get a triple threat. And worst of all, the stuff between these two is far from over. So, double negative all around. But nonetheless, even with that, this was still a damn good show. I don't care what anybody says. So, not as good as last week, but a little bit of a step back this week. But nonetheless, this was still one hell of a show, to say the very least. So, really nothing more to say. Let's just get into our overall review here, and I'll start it off here. I'm gonna give this between 7.5 and 8 out of 10. I mean, I thought this was another really good Monday Night Raw. We had another round of quality matches. Roman Reigns and Cesaro stealing the show for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Second best fight, I probably would give maybe to Reigns and Seth Rollins and Sheamus. And then rounding out the top three, I'd go with the Cruiserweight match. And then you had a solid match with Samoa Joe and Dean Ambrose. And you had another solid women's tag team match, and two very good segments with that opening segment and the segment where the Raw women's roster united against Absolution. The only cutouts, of course, the Finn Balor squash of Curtis Axel, and of course that horrific ending to the show with that Kane and Braun Strowman stuff. That's not what should be made of any Monday Night Raw. If you want to do that like earlier in the show, be my guest. But that nonsense like that has no business ending Monday Night Raw. But nonetheless, this was 7.5 to 8 out of 10. And next week on Monday Night Raw from the Dunkin' Donuts Center in our neck of the woods of Providence, Rhode Island, we're going to have Drew Gulak, Cedric Alexander, #1 contender match for the Cruiserweight Championship. And of course, the Beast Incarnate himself, your reigning and defending undisputed Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, and his advocate, Paul Heyman. They will be there. So those are a couple of highlights to look forward to next week in Providence. So nothing more to say. 7.5, 8 out of 10. MF, another very good Monday Night Raw. But I think this was they took a little bit of a step back after that unbelievable show last week.
Minor step back, nothing bad to say about it. This is at least a 7.5 to 8, no doubt about it. This is a really good show. 3 quality main event type fights, like you said. There was a couple of cutouts here that wasn't amazing, and it is what it is. Nothing more to say. I enjoyed it. It was good enough. It was solid to say the very least, and now SmackDown Live, you gotta counter it. You gotta do whatever you gotta do. So it's up to you guys. So good luck, guys. Nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's all yours, my love.
Okay, I'm going to give Raw a slight punishment, going with just a 7.5, only because of Jordan, the main event, and that Balor match. But what the hell is going on with Nia Jax and Enzo? I mean, I'm gone for a few weeks, and all of a sudden we have Nia Jax flirting with Enzo. Okay, I guess I missed something here. I mean, that's about as bad as Carmella was with, the little horny toad that she had on the leash that's gone. I can't imagine what's going to become of this. But that's just me. But yeah, I'm going to give it a solid 7.5. It was a strong show. And with them pushing all the cruiserweights on Raw, why do we even have a 205? There's another question for you guys. There's no point in having a 205 if you're not going to actually have your title or matches leading to your title defended on it. Why have a show for it? I mean, just my opinion. But yeah, this comes from somebody who's been kind of out of the loop for a few weeks, and I'm still trying to play catch up on a lot of this. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, unless I sneak over into one of the men's sections, I don't get to watch wrestling at work. So, because I know the section right next to where I work, they watch a lot of Raw, a lot of SmackDown. I'll sneak over there every once in a while, maybe watch a match or two. So, yeah, and I got a lot of guys that we talk about the wrestling a lot, so it's cool. So not much more I had to say about it. So I guess I will see you guys. If you all do a preview, I'll be here on Friday. Otherwise, I won't see you until the pay-per-view. So, night, guys.
Night, Dee, and we do the NFL show on Friday, so you'll probably be out of the preview, but we'll probably see you for the recap. So,
sounds good.
All right, we'll see you then. All right, get into my Tony's Take fast here. Last week's edition of 205 Live, and Didi, which you asked a great question. What is the point of 205 Live, honestly? But nonetheless, they still do it, so let's get into it. We have, Drew Gulak had an opening segment, and, we're not going to really get into that. Cedric Alexander went up against Noam Dar. Cedric Alexander won it 5 minutes and 50 seconds with a lumbar check, 2 stars. It was okay. And Dar delivered his usual boring, bland outing. D. Brian Kendrick against Grand Metalik. D. Brian Kendrick in 5 minutes and 49 seconds gets the win. 2.5 stars. They worked on main event together. And they brought some of that chemistry here on the show. Perfectly average match at the end of the day, but better than the opener. And it's ironic that Kendrick is the one complaining about not getting chances while Metalik is right there. And then in the main event, it was Rich Swann against Tony Nese. Rich Swann, the winner in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. Another 2.5 stars. They got more time than the previous 2 bouts, but the crowd wasn't into it. It felt like a really dialed back effort when these two are capable of so much more, and it was a disappointing bout. It was a 5 out of 10. This show was rather lifeless, minus the fun stuff from Drew Gulak. They did a solid job of setting the stage for what was that Gulak and Swann match on Monday. But with all of the important matches happening on Raw the last couple of weeks, 205 Live has felt meaningless, with only minor work done to add to the angles on Raw. So I'm not going to go into any further detail on that. That was a 5 out of 10, and really nothing more to say on that. So let's just get into Impact Wrestling. We started it off with Caleb Connolly squaring off against Taiji Ishimori. Ishimori wins it in 6 minutes and 15 seconds. 2 3/4 stars. Pretty good match overall. And it's used to build to the eventual title match between Ishimori and the champion Trevor Lee. Ishimori is clearly being groomed as the next challenger. So no complaints here. The second semifinal match in the Knockouts tournament triple threat match, Sienna, Rosemary, Allie. Time of the fall, 6 minutes and 16 seconds. The winner and facing Laurel Van Ness for the vacant title is going to be Rosemary. She won that in 6:16. Another 2 3/4 stars. Another good match. Nice pace and a good dynamic between Allie and Rosemary. And then there was a in-ring segment with OVE and Sami Callihan. They were basically making fun of the fans of Canada and all that. That was not good. The Sami promo was not good. Just because you yell doesn't mean you're showing emotion. The setup for the rematch with OVE, killing TDT, and then LAX getting revenge was solid. Mixed bag overall. And then from there, EC3, Matt Sydal for the Grand Championship. It ended in a draw. 2 stars. It was another Grand Championship match that failed to deliver. It had no flow. Simply felt like a match poorly cut up. No drama, no heat, and the overall work was okay at best. It was a fun idea that they never booked properly or used the right people for. I say they should just get rid of it. And then you had Dan Lambert and Bobby Lashley against Moose and James Storm. Lambert and Lashley gets the win. 2-star match, 5.5 minutes. Bobby Lashley, he was not exactly pleased with Dan Lambert stealing the glory and celebrating. I wouldn't be either, trust me. It was okay. They hit Lambert, and the other three worked well enough to keep it from being bad. This angle has really overstayed its welcome. It's been beyond unnecessary. It's at the point to go away, and we need to move along from it. Main event, Eli Drake and Chris Adonis against Johnny Impact and Petey Williams. Impact and Williams win it in 13.5 minutes. Fight of the night, 3 stars. While nothing spectacular or must-see, the main event was a good match, had a good pace and an actual heat segment with heat, smartly worked on Petey Williams. Johnny Impact picks up another win, and despite Alberto El Patron's constant involvement, he looks primed for another shot at Eli Drake. So 6 out of 10. Started off as a pretty good show with the first 2 bouts, and then went off the rails a bit with that OVE segment, the Grand Championship match, and the ATT nonsense before rebounding a bit with the main event. Not a bad show by any means, just rather average overall. So 6 out of 10 for me. And now, what to expect coming up this week? Promo segment with Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. That will be interrupted by Johnny Impact and Alberto El Patron, of course. And then another segment with Moose and James Storm. And then Taiji Ishimori and Desmond Xavier against Trevor Lee and Caleb Connolly. Ali squaring off against Sienna, Madison Rayne, and Casey Spinelli in a 4-way match. EC3. This is for the first time ever a triple threat Impact Grand Championship match. EC3 against both Matt Sydal and Fallah Bahh. Joseph Park will introduce his newest client, and he's going to go up against John Bolin. LAX against OVE for the tag titles. The vacant Knockouts Championship on the line. Laurel Van Ness against Rosemary. 6-man tag match. Alberto El Patron, Johnny Impact, and Petey Williams against Eli Drake, Chris Adonis, and Congo Kong. And then in the main event, a loser leaves Impact match. Cowboy James Storm against, God forbid, Dan Lambert. Oh. Yeah, it's going to put some butts in the seats. So that all goes down Thursday night at 8 on Pop Television. And we are just about done. 2 more pieces of business. MF, come on back in. It's time for you to give us the rundown for tomorrow night. Set the table, if you will, for tomorrow night on the Cerebral Smack Talk. So it's all yours. Another big announcement.
All right. First off, it's going to be that, tomorrow night is another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk on YouTube.com. And basically, we got is SmackDown Live. We got some recap about that. We got some results over the weekend. I'm going to set the table about RWA, and we crowned a new RWA Triple Crown champion. I'll get into that tomorrow night. And there might be a little more on the Mikey's Mindset. Plus, if you guys have not seen the video, Chris Jericho jumped Kenny Omega and left him a bloody mess at New Japan Pro Wrestling on one of their shows recently in Japan over the weekend. We'll get into that as they're definitely put the heat on for Wrestle Kingdom 12, January 4 from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan, as Kenny Omega fights Chris Jericho for the IWGP United States Heavyweight title. We're going to get into that. 10:30 Eastern, BrazeFan95, YouTube.com tomorrow night. Hug the hand pounds. I'm out. Anthony, drop the nuke.
Well, before I do, you forgot to mention, MF, that the SmackDown Live tomorrow night is the Go Home Show.
Yes, it is. The Go Home Show for the Clash of the Champions that's going down this Sunday night from another part of our own neck of the woods, the TD Garden up in Boston, Mass.
Any word on when we're going to do a preview show or anything?
We're definitely doing it on Saturday night.
Alrighty. Let us know the time of that when you can.
Well, that's probably going to be debatable. We'll probably get into that tomorrow. We'll probably have to do it behind the scenes.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Before we wrap up, we do have a huge announcement. We've been teasing it all night, so here it is. As you all know, next Monday Night Raw is going to be at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. There was a special Olympics auction. They were auctioning off 4 tickets to Raw and then another two tickets. Our own MF won the 2 tickets, but just missed out on the 4. But then we put our heads together. Myself, MF, and Michael Bullock had a very lengthy meeting last night, if you will, over Messenger and whatnot. Thanks to the efforts of MF, I am pleased to announce that myself, MF, and Michael Bullock are going to the show next Monday night. How about that? Not only that, it's going to be almost like a family affair. Our own Derek Ferrera is going to be there with some family or friends of his own. And on top of that, one of our first ladies, Megan Silva, and her boyfriend, Adam Mitchell, they're going to be joining us as well. Of course, we're going to be in different sections, but nonetheless, we're all going to be there next Monday night. And as a result of this, we are pushing back Ridiculously Raw next Monday night. We're not going to do it next Monday night, but we are going to push it back to Tuesday night. Time to be determined. And then Wednesday night, we will have the Cerebral Smack Talk. So very exciting indeed. We couldn't be any more excited about it. And I'm glad we put our heads together and we came up with this idea. So, and MF, you are to be commended. You are the man. So nothing more to say on that. So with all that being said, that's going to put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, don't forget Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, like MF said, 10:30, and then from there, Bullock just messaged me. He's obviously out. No big surprise. So yeah. But anyways, Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. The home show for Clash of the Champions. Shinsuke Nakamura with Randy Orton in his corner against Kevin Owens with Sami Zayn in his corner. And a face-off between AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal. So that should be interesting. And that'll be Tuesday. And then Friday night, we got NFL Friday. Major shakeup in the power rankings. I'll tell you that right now. But of course, the game of the week, the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That just got interesting. And then Saturday at some time, we'll have our preview of Clash of the Champions. And then Sunday night, of course, we'll have the recap. And then we will take it from there. So that's it. So until tomorrow night or the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, the Twisted Angel D.D. Woodson, and Derek Ferrera, the Hardcore Python Falcon Striker 445. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up 424 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF channel Base 95, you will watch it. Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. And everybody's been a part of this one. For now, Andy Floyo. So long.